The second episode of A Condition Called Love is here, and I suggest you make a hot beverage and settle in because we've got lots to discuss. The first thing that I think we need to talk about is the idea that Hotaru is actually trying to figure out dating as if she is running a business or something. She actually has Hananoi sit down and they are actually talking about what the rules and goals of their relationship are going to be, like they're actually building a business plan or something. I found this freaking hilarious because I can totally understand the idea of a girl who is not used to being in a relationship and not used to dealing with people in this way, coming up with some way to try and make herself feel better and immediately going for some kind of organization or control of the situation so that she actually understands what it is that he wants from her and she wants from him. I think that I can see where someone might think that that is a smooth and mature way to deal with the problem, or at least a way to tackle the situation instead of just be like put upon by a bunch of anxiety over it. But I can also see why poor Hananoi is like, what is this girl doing? And he's kind of just rolling along with it. And I really found one part super funny where she's all like, yes, hugging and kissing and fooling around, and he's like, you want to fool around with me, Hotaru? And it's just like, kill me. That was great. I laughed so hard. But I mean, like, I can totally get where she is going with this, but it really isn't necessarily the best way to go about things. And I think that the best thing for her would be to take a breath, relax, and just kind of let things go naturally. But of course, the core of this show is the idea that she struggles with the idea of a relationship and he's overeager. So, I mean, we're not going to get that because that is like the antithesis to the show's conflict engine. And I mean, it's still a really fun idea, so I am here for it. One thing that I'm not here for, though, is Hotaru's friends, especially the redhead. Oh man, I just don't like her. Something in my gut just goes, nope, 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 nope. Maybe it's because I dealt with so much crap when I was a teen, and I had friends who could be really annoying, especially more so like in like middle school or stuff. More so than like when I was further along in high school and stuff. Actually pretty good friends at that point. But oh man, when I was dealing with like the first few years of being a teenager, that crap was rough. So it might just be me imparting myself on there, but redhead just gave me the no vibes. It doesn't matter that she gave a present in a cute bag. The way that she like was so eager for Hotaru to actually break up with Hananoi, and that she continually was like, I do not approve, and stuff like that, was just a big no for me. And I also really hated the fact that she punched her boyfriend at one point. Like, it was probably intended as comedy within the context of the scene, but I just don't find that funny. I think it's absolutely disrespectful and rude and mean. And I mean, like, how can something be funny when if it was done in the opposite direction, we would immediately see it as some kind of like misogynistic hate crime, and yet for her to do that, it was just a-okay and we were supposed to laugh it off. That just didn't sit right with me, and it made me really question whether this is somebody that Hotaru should be getting any kind of serious advice from. Hotaru's next attempt at trying to find a way to properly figure out a relationship and communicate better with Hananoi is an idea that I liked a lot better. The idea of having a notebook and writing down things that they wanted to do together, I thought that was absolutely precious. My boyfriend and I are long distance, so we only get to see each other a certain amount of time each year. And when we do actually have that time together, one of the things that we actually do is like make a list of ideas and plans. He doesn't show up at my house and have us just be like, well, what we doing now? Because that's no good. So I figured that's a great way to take some of the pressure off of each of these characters and to help them be able to like inform the other of what it is they actually want without needing like a formal business plan or something, because that was just hilarious. But no. This though was super cute, and I think that it was utilized really well. Now that we've talked a bit about Hotaru's angle on things, let's talk about Hananoi's. And the first thing I really wanted to say from his perspective is I 100% understand why he would feel the way that he does about the idea that if they don't work out, he does not just want to be her buddy. That is not his goal, and that is not what he is here for. I mean, it's especially not fair considering that she has basically put him on trial like he's a 12-year-old kid and his dad is giving him a puppy or something. And then she thinks that he's just going to chill out with her if it doesn't work out, rather than recognizing that he actually has feelings for her, and not working out would be something that would be really upsetting for him. as opposed to being some kind of like science experiment in a petri dish, as it seems to be to her, because she just doesn't understand what's going on. There are some people who can totally be in a relationship, have it end, and then still be friends afterwards. And there are some people who totally cannot. And I think sometimes people who feel that way get the short end of the stick, and people can really get mad about that. And I don't think that's fair, because the idea of expecting someone to just continue hanging around you if they have feelings for you and that's painful for them is absolutely inconsiderate. The last couple things that I think we need to touch on before we wrap this up are two things that happen while Hotaru is actually in Hananoi's room when they go to his house together. The first of these, of course, is the presence of the shrine that he tells her about when she goes to reach for the curtains on something, and he actually stops her from moving her hand and being able to do that. I thought that was kind of funny and kind of creepy. I was actually really offended at first. I'm like, what the hell does he have there? But then I was thinking about it more, and I mean, these guys have been together, let's say a month, to be fair. And I mean, like, when he says that he has a shrine of her, it could very well be that he just has a part of his room on a shelf where he has stuff like a picture of her, or he has a yearbook, or he has, like, stubs from a concert they went to together, or stuff like that. Or maybe he has like some item they bought when they were shopping together or something. I mean, my boyfriend and I both have parts of our rooms where we have things like that because of all the time we've spent together and the fact that we're long distance. So the idea of having a space in your living space where you have things that relate to your significant other isn't entirely unquestionable. But it is definitely something that could be really weird and creepy if it was put together in the wrong way. So we'll have to see whether they come back to this and whether this is something they revisit later. For now, though, again, I'm going to give him the benefit of a doubt. The absolute last thing we need to talk about before we wrap things up is the situation that happens when she tells him that maybe the best way for them to find out whether or not there is any kind of connection between them would simply be for him to kiss her. And the show is such a tease with this, and they use it beautifully, though. I mean, it was an annoying way to wrap up an episode, but they do not let it go to waste. And what they do is, he tells her to close her eyes, he comes close to her, and he whispers in her ear that she shouldn't ask someone to do something like that if she isn't sure she likes them. And I really admired him for this, because it shows that what he feels toward her is something he thinks is very real. And I mean, as a guy, getting closer and getting to give a kiss is something you would normally think would be incredibly enticing and that he would be very into the idea of doing. And I'm sure he'd love to kiss her. But the fact that he doesn't want to do that necessarily because she isn't sure how she feels was just such an interesting and refreshing, like, inversion of how it would normally go, because that would normally be a girl's role to play, and instead we have a guy showing this. Now, I don't know, we could get to the start of the next episode and it could totally be smoochy, or we could get there and they could totally be in a different place entirely, and we might get maybe some kind of miniature flashback or something. I do hope that they get past this whole trial aspect of their relationship, though, because I really hate that idea. I don't think it's fair to Hananoi. I think it's really cruel, and I think that it'll be a lot easier to watch these two and to watch what they go through if they don't have this, like, romance version of the sort of Damocles dangling over their head and waiting to collapse. It makes for a very intense viewing session. And that makes it a lot harder to really let myself open up to the characters and connect to them, because the idea that what they have could hypothetically collapse in an instant makes me much less willing to actually take a chance on getting really invested in what they're doing. Anyway, I think that covers everything I wanted to say about this week's episode, so I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!